US contractors say live ammunition, stun grenades and tear gas were used towards Palestinians at aid distribution sites.
Liverpool FC footballer Diego Jota has died alongside his brother after the pair were involved in a car accident in northern Spain.
American contractors have used live ammunition and stun grenades at aid distribution sites in Gaza, according to insiders speaking on the condition of anonymity, as hungry Palestinians desperately scramble for food. 2 US contractors guarding aid sites in Gaza shared testimonies, reports and messages with the Associated Press, revealing rare insights into the operations of the Israel-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. The videos provided by the contractors show hundreds of Palestinians crowded at aid sites amid gunfire. Other videos show English-speaking men discussing crowd control and encouraging each other after gunfire.
I think you hit one. Hey, got IDF tank posted on the northwest corner now. Brought him in and talked to him. Do a show for us.
The contractors said bullets were fired in all directions, including towards Palestinians. They were called at least one time where they thought someone was hit. They said they felt the need to speak out because they were disturbed by what they saw as dangerous and irresponsible behavior. They added that the security staff were often unqualified, unvetted, heavily armed, and seemed to have an open license to do whatever they wished. A spokesperson from the logistics company subcontracted by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, or GHF, said there have been no serious injuries at their sites. They said security fired warning shots into the ground away from civilians in the early days when crowd control was necessary. Before GHF opened in May, Israel blocked all food, water and medicine from entering Gaza for 2.5 months. GHF replaced the system previously run by the United Nations, which has condemned the GHF's methods as violating international aid standards. Since late May, local authorities say more than 500 Palestinians have been killed at aid sites. A joint statement by 170 NGOs has called for the GHF to be shut down.
I'm here in Copenhagen for the start of the Danish presidency of the EU Council, and one priority is key: security. Denmark wants to ramp up defense spending across the European Union in order to build deterrence capabilities against Russia. This, they say, needs to be done by 2030 at the very latest. This is the day by which, according to Danish officials, Russia could launch an all-out attack against a NATO member state. At the same time, Denmark wants to ramp up military and financial support for Ukraine now that the United States is pulling away. Denmark is even pitching the idea that Ukrainian defense companies could come to the European Union to build and manufacture weapons in order to then transfer those ammunitions and equipment to the battlefield in Ukraine. Jorge Liboreiro, Euronews, Copenhagen. President Zelensky's surprise visit to Orhus comes at a precarious time for Ukraine. Russia continues to bombard Ukrainian cities while the United States refuses to provide fresh military assistance. A new package of EU sanctions is blocked by Slovakia, and Ukraine's accession process is blocked by Hungary. Denmark wants to use its presidency of the EU Council to break the deadlock, but with unanimity being keen, the mission faces an uphill struggle. Jorge Liboreiro, Euronews, Orhus.
More than 1,500 people have been evacuated from their homes and hotels in Crete following a fast-moving wildfire overnight into Thursday. More than 230 firefighters and 10 water bombers have been battling the flames of the Greek island's Aya Petra area on the southern coast.
Οι ισχυρές πυροσβεστικές δυνάμεις που ενισχύθηκαν από την Αττική αυτή τη στιγμή αντιμετωπίζουν πολλές διάσπαρτες εστίες. Οι ρηπές των ανέμων στην περιοχή φτάνουν ακόμη και τα 9 μποφόρ, δημιουργώντας διαρκώς κυλιδώσεις και νέες εστίες, δυσκολεύοντας πολύ το πυροσβεστικό έργο.
2 people were evacuated by boat overnight, while 6 private vessels were on standby for potential further sea evacuations, according to Coast Guards. Homes have reportedly been damaged as flames swept through hillside forests spread by strong winds. Local authorities urged residents not to return to try to save their property. Several residents were treated for breathing difficulties, according to officials, but there were no immediate reports of serious injuries. The risk of wildfires remain very high across Crete and parts of southern Greece, according to a daily bulletin issued by the fire service on Thursday.
Footballer Diego Jota has died alongside his brother in a car accident in northern Spain. The pair were driving at high speed on a highway in Zamora late on Wednesday night, causing one of the car's tires to burst and veer off the road, say Spanish police. The vehicle then burst into flames, killing the 2 footballers. Portuguese Prime Minister Luís Montenegro spoke of the unexpected and tragic news. The president of the Portuguese Football Federation, Pedro Proença, asked UEFA for a minute's silence this Thursday ahead of the national team's match in the European Women's Football Championship. 28-year-old Jota had been playing for the Portuguese national team and Liverpool FC, who won the Premier League last season. His younger brother Andre Filipe had been playing second division football in Portugal.
Faced with pressure from US President Donald Trump, will the EU make concessions to the big tech to ease the trade war? A step back that would not be backed by citizens, according to a recent survey. In Spain, Germany and France, nearly 2/3 of participants believe that the European Union should continue to enforce European laws on big tech companies, even if this damages relations with Trump. However, nearly half of those surveyed consider that tech giants like Meta or Google have more power than the European Union. The survey comes amid EU-US tensions, with Trump's tariff suspension set to end on July the 9th and trade talks ongoing.
Essentially, there has been a big discussion on how the EU could retaliate against a scenario where Trump keeps a high level of tariffs or on critical goods or generally in the EU. And one of the potential kind of like cards or assets that the EU has at its hands is digital services taxes because of the very high presence of big tech companies in the European market.
On Donald Trump's radar are the Digital Markets Act, the Digital Services Act, and the Artificial Intelligence Act. These texts aim to fight against unfair competition and disinformation, or even protect data. The European Commission has repeatedly assured that its strategic plan to regulate and shape the EU's digital space is a non-negotiable.
Judge Arun Subramanian, who presides over Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking and racketeering case, has denied bail despite Wednesday's mixed verdict. Diddy's defense had earlier requested the hip-hop mogul be released on a $1 million bond while he awaits sentencing. The judge says Combs, for now, has not met the burden of showing by clear and convincing evidence a lack of danger to the public or community. A sentencing date has not yet been set, but Subramanian has called for a hearing on the 8th of July to discuss the process with the attorneys. He's also put forward October 3rd as a proposed date for the rapper's sentencing, but the defense has requested an expedited decision. On Wednesday, Diddy was acquitted of the most serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy, which could have put him behind bars for decades to life. He was, however, convicted of the lesser prostitution-related offenses. Those charges carry a maximum sentence of 10 years, but Diddy's lawyers believe he will likely only face around 2 years. Prosecutors, however, are pushing for at least 4 to 5 years as they cited Combs' violence, aggressive tendencies, abusive past, and other factors. The hip-hop star has been jailed since his arrest in September. His time spent in jail leading up to the ruling will be credited and deducted from his sentence.
An open love letter to the Italian culture, that's what the latest Dolce & Gabbana exhibition is all about. 14 rooms trace the brand's creative process through a series of themes that reflect the designer's love for their home country and its deep influence on their work. After Milan and Paris, from the heart to the hands, Dolce & Gabbana, featuring over 200 unique haute couture pieces, has landed in the Italian capital. Whether it's architecture, art, opera or theatre, exceptional craftsmanship remains the hallmark of the Dolce & Gabbana universe. Visitors seem to agree. The exhibition is about much more than fashion.
I feel like I learned a lot about like the different techniques, but also a lot about like the Italian culture and like the different cities in Italy.
Il mio stile non si identifica in quello di Dolce Gabbana, però ha sorpreso, ecco appunto, le emozioni che poi oggi ho provato. Qui non vediamo la macchina che lavora, ma le mani che lavorano e si vedono in un modo effettivo.
Secondo me rappresenta proprio l'Italia, quindi quando guardi loro vedi l'Italia, quindi mi è piaciuto molto far vedere la Sicilia, la Sardegna, tutta l'Italia. Ho visto anche Napoli perché io sono napoletana, quindi vedere Sofia Loren in quel quadro è stato veramente molto bello.
References to Sicily, where Domenico Dolce was born and which has always been a source of inspiration for the brand, can be found throughout the exhibition. For the Rome edition, 3 additional rooms have been added, including one entirely dedicated to cinema, a theme deeply tied to the Italian capital. Giorgia Orlandi for Euronews in Rome.